Hey everyone, before we jump into the show, I want to tell you about our merch store on Threadless. Shop a wide variety of logos with multiple colors and sizes available for each design. Your support is greatly appreciated and helps us continue to make killer content like this episode. Please visit supercoolradio.threadless.com or the link in the description to shop now.
Hello everyone, I am Matthew Thomas. This is Super Cool Radio. I'm above the Indianapolis streets here at the Hi-Fi. I'm with a really great guest. She was part of our live Motoblot coverage. Plus, she won Hardest Touring Music Award from Punk Rock Indianapolis. She's a badass, Suzi Moon.
Woo! Stoked to be here with you again, my friend. And now I'm an award-winning punk rocker, which is very rare for punk rockers to win any sort of award. So I have to shout out Punk Rock Night because they are doing an amazing thing for our scene and recognizing the hardworking artists, and even fans have gotten awards. Like, how cool is that? So we're just having a nice night. This is special.
It definitely is, and big shout out to Punk Rock Indianapolis. They're an awesome organization right here in Indianapolis, and they do so much great work, and they put on killer shows like the one currently going on. It is, of course, you are on tour with the Briefs and Dead Boys.
Oh, yeah.
Now, before I get to all that, this is a very fun question that I'm very curious, and other people are curious since I told them what my question is. And that is, what is one movie, one book, and one album everyone should check out in their lifetime?
Ooh, okay. Well, as far as movies go, I think if you're into music and you haven't seen the Josie and the Pussycats live action film, it is hilarious. It's like a Spinal Tap, but with an all-girl band. And that movie must have come out when I was about 11 or 12. And I was obsessed with it because it's like three-piece girl band, you know? And not only that, but the soundtrack to the record, aside from the movie, is like one of the greatest pop punk records of all time, because they brought in all these amazing songwriters and producers to make this original soundtrack for a non-existent girl band. And it's so good, it hurts. It's like so fucking good. So that would be definitely something people should check out if they like, you know, the other side of the music industry, seeing like the funny bits. You know, it's brilliant. Alan Cumming is in it. Like, this is a good movie.
I have not watched it. I have to check it out now.
You will laugh. Yeah, you will laugh. And you'll also, I mean, for me, like, outfits. And this is like early 2000s. I think it was like 2002. It was very much a time capsule to that moment. Yeah, just highly recommend. Please go watch that. And then for books, I love books. I read a lot of books. I probably have to go with my favorite Khalil Gibran book. It's called Spirits Rebellious. He was a Lebanese philosopher about like 1930s time. And Spirits Rebellious is actually a book about love and unrequited love. And it's really interesting and beautifully written. There's a line in it where I took the name from my last band, Turbulent Hearts, from. And he was just talking about how, you know, Turbulent Hearts, that's like the ride we're taking at, you know, through life is there's a lot of turbulence in your heart, you know? But he's just an amazing writer and a great storyteller. So what was the third thing I was supposed to pick?
One album.
Album? Oh, that would be Nevermind the Bollocks by the Sex Pistols. It is hands down the most important punk record of all time.
I definitely agree with that.
Easy.
Oh, yeah. But I was very curious. That's why I included that question in the section.
Yeah.
I knew you actually have very well thought out answers, and you definitely did. And I have to watch I have to keep up on movies because I definitely have to watch that now. But I really like the story behind the book as well. And of course, it's Sex Pistols. Like, come on.
Dude, just every day I wake up and I go, how can I be Johnny Rotten? And then I realize I can't. I have to be me. So I might as well do it as best as I can, which is probably what Johnny Rotten does when he wakes up, is just be the best Johnny Rotten he can be. But yeah, as far as the Khalil Gibran book, he's most famous for The Prophet is like his famous book.
I've heard of that.
Start there, you know, and kind of work your way through. But every time I have an opportunity to go to a thrift store on tour, which we really don't get a lot of shopping time, which is tragic. I always go to the book section and I seek out, you know, and I found a lot of his works in thrift stores, and they're like older books. You know, I open it up and I smell it, and I'm like, oh yeah. So.
Yeah, and I just started getting back into reading. I haven't read since like high school, which is not. I don't recommend it.
You got to read like over 10 books a year.
I definitely was not doing that.
Drew reads 2 books at a time. Like, I think that I read fast, and then Drew's over there reading 2 books at a fucking time, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I got to step it up. But I like reading. It really calms my brain, you know, just to go into another place. Then I get sad when it's over. You know, because you feel like you now have like these friends. And I don't think you necessarily need to be reading like deep, important literature for reading to benefit you. When I go on vacation or if I'm taking long flights or something, I just go on like my Google Book app and pick the trashiest, stupidest mystery novel, you know, like written by like some chick who just churns out, you know, 3 books a month. Like they're not deep books at all, but I think just the process of reading and taking words and putting them in your brain, it doesn't have to be like, you know, it doesn't have to be the Odyssey. You know, reading is enjoyable. It should be another way that we pass time instead of just scrolling on our phone, you know?
And I definitely agree with that, actually. And since I've been reading, it's actually been helping me sleep a little bit better now, which
Nice.
That's what I do. I've been reading, I don't know if you're familiar with Neil Strauss. He's done like a whole ton of interviews for the Rolling Stone and New York Times and all that stuff.
Okay.
So that's how I've actually started getting ideas for my interviews
Cool.
through him. So
See, look at that.
exactly.
It's already working.
See?
Yeah.
And I did have one question that was inspired of him, but I will get to that in a little bit.
Sure.
Right now, I did want to talk about you are currently on tour with Dead Boys and The Briefs,
Dream tour.
which you're about 10 days in right now. How's it been
That's
going?
it?
I think you started October 5th, so
I feel
yes.
like I've been on this tour forever.
Well, actually, it's 11 days, so I was there you go.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I'm having so much fun watching these bands every night, and they're just really great people. Everybody gets along super well, and when you have a tour package that's booked so smartly, where the bands complement each other, but they all contribute something totally different to the show, like that's magical right there, you know. So we are very lucky to be a part of this.
It definitely, I've been enjoying the show so far, and you're definitely very right, because each band is in like kind of the same category, but they provide something completely different with all of their music, and I really enjoyed it. It was a nice, fun October outdoor show here at the Hi-Fi Annex.
Got a little chilly, not gonna lie.
It did, but I know you're professional. You were totally cool with it.
Well, that's the thing. You have to like separate yourself from your body in a sense, and be like, well, you know for a fact you're gonna get hot and sweaty at some point. It's really just that first song and a half or something where you're like feeling the elements, and then you kind of go to a different place and rise above, you know, whatever kind of weather bullshit.
Plus the adrenaline kicks in and all that. Plus I look like you're having a really great time.
I was having a really great time, and I would like to personally thank my sunglasses for helping me have a good time. I'm not the person who usually wears sunglasses on stage because I like to make eye contact with people in the crowd and connect with them, but I just felt like wearing my sunglasses today, and that actually put me in a different headspace, and I had a really fun and different show, which I think when you're on the road for as long as we are, finding little ways to make the shows different for yourself, so it's not just like this repetitive thing, you know. So it actually put me in a different place, and I was able to tap into a different part of my performance tonight. So that was fun for me. I had a really good time.
And I think a lot of people did too. I know you were on the guardrail for Animal,
Yeah.
which I know a lot of people really enjoyed.
There were some people singing along. I love that. So cool.
I was definitely one of those people.
Yeah, you are.
'Cause it was a really great time, and I kind of forgot where I was going with my notes. That's why I have to
Oh,
consult
no
them
worries.
real
We'll get
quick.
to that. Yeah, I've got
But
my tea right here. Take a little
So
tea
I'm
sip.
usually more professional than this, but I think we're both.
I think we're just having fun.
Yeah, and also I think the lack of sleep, just
Yes, both
Yeah.
of us experiencing lack of sleep.
you slightly more than me. So, but I did want to talk about going back to the European tour. Before leaving for the European tour, I know there was some issues. How was it getting to the airport?
Oh, yeah. It's so fun going on tour and having multiple roadblocks in your way. You have to really ground yourself and remind yourself why you put yourself through these crazy things. Being a musician is just crazy people do it. Okay, absolutely. There's a lot I don't think most people know that bands have to do in order to make shit happen. But for example, just on the morning that Drew and I were leaving our house to drive up to New Jersey, where Patty Bowe, our bass player, lives, it's a fucking downed power line on our street. Like, not just one either. It's like 6 of them. Like, and we live on the end of a one-way, like a cul-de-sac, not a cul-de-sac, but it's like, it ends. And we were trapped on the inside, you know? And this is like 7 in the morning. And I go out there and all the neighbors are kind of just hanging around. And I was like, well, has anybody called the power line people? And, no, not yet. I'm like, well, somebody should call the fucking power line people. Not only like did we need to leave, but all the neighbors on my street, we all know each other, and there are a lot of animals and stuff too. And it's like you certainly don't want somebody's dog or cat like getting too close to that or whatever. Man, you should have seen Drew's face. He was visibly upset that we had to wait, you know, because we had this whole plan. And then we figured out it was probably our cat that did it to keep us from leaving. That was like her grand scheme, right? Like, no, you can't leave and go on tour for a month because, you just can't leave the street. So what Drew and I ended up doing was we called his dad, and his dad came and like met us down the street. We had to walk like all of our gear and our bags. And I booked us a last minute fucking bus ride up to New York. Okay. So then we changed all the plans. Patty had to meet us in New York, which is where our flight was going. We had to take a 6-hour, bus ride up to New York. It just changed the whole fucking thing. We ended up making it on time to our flight, which was great. But yeah, these things just happen. And I think when you travel as much as we do, or any band does, sometimes the universe is just gonna, throw you a little fucking curveball to make sure you want it that badly.
Definitely. And I know you guys are gonna make it happen no matter what.
We have to.
Oh, exactly. But I did hear there's a rumor that a cat was the cause of all of it, and I totally believe it.
It was 100% my cat.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I just know it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you can't leave. Just don't. That's dumb. Don't leave.
I left, since I last saw you at Motoblot, I have a cat, and I left her for 3 days. And then when I came back, she, like, won't leave me now. Like,
that's
she was,
really
like,
sweet.
so sad that...
Yeah.
That I left, but I came back eventually.
Yeah, but they don't know when we're coming back.
Yeah.
It's very confusing and scary for them. And the guilt I have as a cat mom to leave her for 2 fucking months. She probably thinks we're dead or have abandoned her or never coming back. Like, I can't tell my cat, like, I can't call her and be like, I'm coming home in this many days. She's just like, oh, my people are gone. And like, so fuck that. That is awful. I don't like that.
Yeah, that is the one drawback, but I know when you guys do return that she'll be very happy.
She will be totally ambivalent is how she will be. She'll be like, no, that's fine. You're back now. Like, I was worried, but then, like, you're back and I don't care that much. You care too much, actually. It's probably more like it.
I also, and with my cat, I think, see, this is my fault that she's extremely narcissistic, because since I've had her for 5 years,
Best cats are.
Yeah, since I've had her for 5 years, I would always rub her belly and say that she's the cutest cat, and I think that went straight to her head.
Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah, we refer to ours as like a precious little baby angel. She's a sweet little precious little baby angel. And she's orange, so we also call her an Orangel. She's Orangel.
Oh, gotcha.
She got a lot of names. She's got a lot of love, and I'm very lucky to have my brother at home who she likes a lot. Like, they're cool, and he's cat sitting for us. But you still feel that guilt.
I do right now, and I'm only gone for I'm gone for maybe 24 hours. So. But that'll be all right.
That's our nice part of life, though. And
oh, exactly.
to be fair, she chose us. She just walked up to our house one day and was like, meow, I'm yours. So it's like, well, you chose rockstar parents. And we got to go do rockstar stuff. And it's really for you, Kithe. So someday we can buy you a house with a big bay window and a cushy little seat so you could just lounge in the sun by the wind. Like, we're working for Kithe, really. Yeah.
I think almost every cat person is. I think so. But I could talk about cats forever because I love them.
Too,
but
me too.
I did another thing that happened on the European tour. I did want to talk about. I saw from your stories while you're in Scotland. You took some interesting pictures of something that may not have been from this world. Would you like to elaborate on that?
Yeah, we definitely got ghost pictures, like for sure. Poor Patty, he had the hardest time of all of us, because he actually had something like whisper in his ear, and he was feeling like the physical effects of, being in a very haunted place. And I mean, it's just impossible for Edinburgh, Scotland, to be without ghosts. The amount of tragedy and death that has happened there, like you could just feel it. It's an old fucking place, and we did a ghost tour, so it's great because we started the ghost tour in like the city center, and then we start like walking, with the tour, and they like make a right and then make a left, and all of a sudden we're in front of the loft we're staying in, and I was like, oh, that's weird. We're back here next to and we open the door next to where we're staying, and the guy takes us up the stairs. We are literally starting the tour in a room that shares a wall with the place that we're staying in. Okay, so I was like, oh, this is fucked up. This is gonna be bad.
It's not a good sign.
No. And I'm a Christian, and I have a cross tattooed on my hand. That way, if I'm not wearing my cross, I'm at least protected. Like I pray all day, and I feel like I've got like a bit of a protection. But I've traveled so much. I've seen my fair share of ghosts, right? And I'm not bothered by ghosts. I'm just kind of sad for ghosts. Like, it's a bummer. Like, you're not here, you're not there, you're just kind of fucking trapped. Like, that sucks, But Drew has never had any paranormal experiences, and his stance on ghosts is just no. I don't do ghosts. I don't fucking do ghosts, So we do this tour, and they take us to this room filled with medieval torture devices. And I raised my hand at the end of the guy talking, and I was like, so is it safe to assume that all of these have been actually used on people? He's like, oh yeah, all of them. And I was like, cool, so we're staying right next door. Like, that's the wall. Okay. And so Edinburgh was built, they built these vaults into a bridge that connected the city, and the idea was that the vaults were going to be used as storage for like dried goods and alcohol and all kinds of shit. But they built it out of sandstone, which became very damp and wet, so it would damage things. They could not store things. So now they've got these big ass vaults that are abandoned because they can't do anything with it, and they turned into like this like very like dark underworld sort of like trade place, like drugs, sex, fucking prostitution, child trafficking, like all kinds of shit. And there was actually a fire that happened in Edinburgh, and people fled their wood homes and went to the vaults because of the stone. Okay, but the stone got so hot around it, all these people basically smoked to death, like hundreds of people, like fucking smoked to death, okay, down there. So it's got a really heavy vibe, like you just feel it instantly, like this place is fucked up. So yeah, the ghost tour, all that stuff, we walked around. Patty wasn't looking too hot. I felt like I needed to be like protective of him, like, Patty, you okay, bro? Like, I'm gonna stand by you, Drew kept like dropping to his knees and like kind of like breathing really heavy, and I'm like, I don't know, I don't feel scared at all, but I do feel like I'm supposed to take pictures, which isn't like I don't fucking take pictures even on tour. Like, I'm just the worst at taking pictures, but I had this feeling that I should take some photos down there, like no flash or nothing like that, just like do. So I took a few photos when we were in this one room, and it wasn't until the next day when we were driving down to Blackpool for Rebellion Festival, and I just had some time in the van, and I was like, well, let me like adjust the brightness, see if I can like get anything to pop so I could see this a little bit better. And right between these two guys, I've got like two sets of pictures, right? There's one set where it's like the two dudes standing against an opening to the vaults, and it's empty between them. And then the next picture, there's very clearly a small like Victorian child with dark eyes and like an old-timey dress, and she's holding her hands together, and I show this to all the guys, and we're like, no, there wasn't anybody on our tour that looked like that. I think I would have remembered somebody who looked like that on our tour. And it was an 18 and over tour, so there weren't any children on the tour, but we know for a fact lots of children died down there. Yeah. And another thing that the tour guide had told us was that when that fire happened and people basically just fucking, they just boiled, their eyes melted. Their fucking eyes melted. And this she's looking directly at me from across the room in the picture. Like, she definitely wanted to be seen, but her eyes are like pitch black. So it was really spooky. So then we go back to our loft and Patty's like crying, and I'm like, it's okay, brother. It's going to be okay. And I'm like walking around like, you can't get us. You need to go away. Like, leave us alone. Everybody needs to sleep tonight. Like, fuck you. Go somewhere else. So yeah, that was a weird little funky experience, but it's probably not going to be the last that happens on tour.
Probably not. That's a safe bet. But I did see the stories from it, and like it creeped me out. Just like, and I wasn't even there. I just seen the photos of it.
Oh yeah,
and especially how heavy that history is there anyway. But yeah,
like no, and he's very analytical. So he's like looking at the pictures, like, well, could it have been one of those chicks, or the And we're like, well, let's try to really go through this and debunk it, But at the end of the day, we're like, ghost, totally fucking ghost. That's such a ghost. That's 100% a ghost. Like, that's what it is.
Yeah, there's really no other, like, you could try to explain as much, but if there's no explanation, then you have to think paranormal or from another dimension.
Yeah, and I love that stuff.
I do too.
I think it's really interesting.
I always think it's pretty cool.
I would like a second job where I just get to help set spirits free. I don't know if that's a thing I could do. I'm a little afraid of them coming home with me because I've had weird shit happen like that. But I feel like that would be that would be an interesting job, places. I pray over them,
Yeah. I
go to the light, Caroline,
I feel like that is, I feel like there is, I don't know what the title is, but I feel like there is something like that. So like, I don't speak on this very much, but my dad's actually a priest.
Oh, cool.
So I know some people don't like that. I understand. But he does like house blessings and stuff, and he tells all the spirits and any spirits to leave the house. So it's kind of so yeah. he is cool. Really cool. So I know I don't speak on that very publicly, but since we are talking about it is cool though.
Relevant.
Yeah, it is. Yes,
it's interesting. Yeah,
yes, it is.
Cool. So, I can't remember the name of it. Like, it's not. Yeah, it's okay. So I love the Conjuring movies, right?
Yes, I've seen them.
What they do. Sort of. I know there's a term for it, but I cannot remember. But yeah, maybe that's my later in life calling. Yeah.
That would be cool.
Former rock star, now personal paranormal clearer outer or something.
Spirit cleaner.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Spirit cleaner.
That was good. I don't.
Cats and ghosts. So yeah.
Well, I've heard from some people that they think cats are demons. So
I think cats keep them away.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
They're like demon fighters.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't. Cats are definitely weird though. Like they got some connection somewhere that we're not that we don't have.
100%.
And I did want to talk about. I'm sorry. I have a great time chatting with you, but I do want to move on because I know there's so much we got going on, both of us today. I did want to talk about the new album, Dumb In Luv. Since I last talked to you, it was in the works and not released yet, and now it got released on September 23rd.
Yeah, finally.
How does it feel to have the new album out, and you got like a ton of support and feedback from it?
Yeah, hearing like fans' responses to it is like my favorite shit, because I know how I feel about it. I'm very proud of it. It took a long time for me to get that record the way that I wanted it, and it's a record that had been in my heart for a long time and like a really big milestone for my life as an artist, and my career. But then when you let it go and then you start hearing back like what people's favorite songs are, or this one connected to them, whatever, like that's so fucking cool because it doesn't belong to me anymore. It belongs to the world, and I've like let it go. And it's really cool. And I'm just very, very happy that it exists because it totally exemplifies like who I am. I feel like it's everything I wanted it to be, you know?
It definitely, I really enjoy it. I would say, like, for me, I love California and Money.
Mm-hmm.
Those are my two favorite off the album.
Cool.
But to me, listening to the whole album, it just feels complete. Like, I don't know if that's a great term to describe it, but...
That is awesome. That is awesome because I wanted it to feel like a collection where everything complemented each other. And it's like a concept in a sense, you know? And I have had people tell me, oh, I can listen to it like 3 times in a row because it's not super long, but everything kind of flows into the other, you know? And that's a huge accomplishment for any musician, I think, to create something that makes sense and doesn't leave people fucking confused.
No, it definitely is. I really enjoy it, and it does have it. It is very like I've listened to it a few times before before coming here,
Cool.
and I don't get tired of it.
Oh, that's nice. Me too. I listen to it a lot too. Like I did that. That's so cool. Wow, music is crazy. But you should be proud of your work.
Exactly.
But now that it's out of me, like that, just that feels good too because songs get plugged up in your brain, and like I think that's part of like the driving force with a lot of artists is like, oh, we have this shit in our brain and we have to get it out or else like we'll go crazy, and now it's gone and it's like, okay, be free, little song baby.
It's a release, obviously for you as the artist, but then also to actually have people listen to it and have all the support. It's both like gratifying and a release for you at the same time.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I'm so proud of it. And I'm really thankful to Drew and Patty and Sean and Justin who played drums on it and fucking Mass Giorgini and Davey Warsop. Like there was a whole team behind that believed in me before. I mean, we're here today. I've got this cool little award from Punk Rock Night, but we're going back close to 3 years now. People that just saw potential in my vision, and they were the first ones to like stand by me and say, let's fucking do this, so absolutely there would be none of this without them.
Very, very good way of putting it. And I'm very, very happy for you, the whole band. And make sure to check out the new album, Dumb In Luv. It's on all the streaming platforms. Plus, you got badass vinyl.
Yeah, vinyl. Vinyl is the best.
And also make sure to see your live. Plus, you can pick up the vinyl same time. There you go. Now, you kind of already answered this question, but I did want to ask it anyway because this is a new question for this season. If you recorded what you consider to be the most perfect album, but it wasn't released, would you be content knowing you recorded it, or did you want it released?
That's interesting. I've never thought about that before. Look at you with the curveballs. I mean, why would you spend money on recording something if you're not going to release it? Then it's just financially unwise. I think you should see things through. If you start something, you should finish it. So I couldn't ever see myself recording something and not releasing it Unless, here's another curveball. When I was briefly in a project called LA Machina, it was like a pandemic project that didn't go the distance, right? We actually did record an entire album that the world will never hear, which is fucking weird. That being said, only 4 of my songs that I had written and contributed to the group were part of that. And the other, I want to say like 5 were somebody else's songs. And I ended up taking my songs back, re-recording them. And that's what's called on Call the Shots. So those songs are about that. Like if we're going to timestamp that the reason that Call the Shots was able to come out that way is because I had actually gotten like the drums, the bass, all that stuff recorded with the intention of releasing it with a different project. And then the universe said, we have other plans. That band's going to fall apart. But Pirates Press Records wants to know what you have ready to go. So we had to go back to the studio. Drew and I went back, chopped it up, fixed it up, made it my songs again instead of, what it would have gone a different direction. So yeah, there is a record out there I was a part of that no one will ever hear, but they did hear my stuff, which is cool, So I don't know. If you spend money recording something, you should release it, though.
I would agree. You're actually the first person to actually say that point too, of it costing money to record.
Oh yeah, this shit's expensive.
From all the people I've talked to, it definitely is.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a new question for this season. I'm kind of curious because I know some people say they wouldn't mind it not being recorded or released, but I feel like you would definitely want to release.
What's the point?
Exactly.
It's meant to be shared, and I think, big or small, put it out there because there are people who are gonna like your thing. Like there are enough people in the world.
Someone's gonna connect with it.
Music will find its audience, but it's just lazy to not release it. Come on now.
I agree. Now, I don't want to take too much of your time. I did have one more thing I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
Your outfits.
Yes.
You actually make your own outfits. How did that come about, and how long have you been doing that?
Well, I make a lot of my outfits, or I DIY a lot of my outfits. I cannot claim to, from scratch, make everything. I have a fear of sewing machines, and it's because in home ec in 7th grade, threading the bobbin of the sewing machine was the fucking most annoying thing that I could not get the hang of, and I'm afraid I'm gonna somehow sew my hand, right? I've got this weird fear of doing that. So I hand sew, which is something I also learned in home ec in 7th grade, and I've retained that skill. So a lot of things I will find at a thrift store or, maybe a online store, and I will basically doctor them, and play fucking Operation and change it up to suit me, because generally speaking, there aren't a ton of clothes out there that are the things I want to wear, So I have to mix a lot of pieces from a lot of different places and alter them, So something I've been into in the last year is if I find a really cool dress from a thrift store, I will turn it into a bodysuit, so then it's got legs and a crotch, and that's been a fun project. And I'll add things like chains and zippers, and I always spray painting things on my patio. My landlord, she's super sweet. Then she comes down there and I'm like, please excuse my gypsy den under the porch, where there's just clothes hanging, and I've dyed things. I dye things to get different colors, and I, add chains, spray paint, all that stuff. I'm always doing something like that, because then I look like me, and the way I want to look it's not a mainstream thing. It's funny though, because just maybe about half an hour ago, I was like, Patty, I feel like the villain from The Emperor's New Groove in this feather thing, Yzma. And then we Googled it, and it's a picture of Yzma with this feather collar. She's like, and I was like, it's me. So wow, fucking hilarious. But this feather thing I'm wearing, I found it for $5 in the Halloween section at the thrift store, and I was like, every day is Halloween, and it has been a serious vibe for this tour. But I'm also, I don't like to re-wear things too many times without maybe changing them up a little bit. I try to accessorize differently, and I'm constantly evolving as just a person and finding what feels good on stage, what, feels comfortable on stage, but also looks the way I want it to. So you'll see me, constantly evolving in that sense. But I think at the core, there's very much a classic sort of glamour, but make it punk rock and embrace being sexy and feminine, but also fucking badass, something like that is my thing,
You definitely have your own unique style to it, and you always look killer every time. But the feathers do look really cool. Yeah, it definitely is.
100%.
It definitely is.
Emperor's New Groove is that's just one of the best Disney movies. It's hilarious.
I agree with that.
So yeah, I'm proud. proud to look like East Med tonight.
Unintentionally, too.
Fashion icon, okay?
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to let you go. I know we've talked for a little bit of extending time. I really appreciate your time.
Love chatting with you. Thank you so much.
I love seeing you live, but also I really enjoy chatting with you.
You got the hat. You got the shirt. Yes, you got the button.
I do. I'm all decked out.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
Yeah.
Last thing, what does 2023 look like for Suzi Moon?
I'm not allowed to say that. So if I say too much, then I can't.
I understand.
You know, if you guys know me, you know I got tricks up my sleeve. So
or feathers.
Feathers up my sleeve. Sparkles, feathers, safety pins, studs. You know, all that shit. So yeah.
I completely understand. So I will.
To be continued.
How about can you say how does the rest of the tour with Dead Boys and the Briefs look?
Oh man, we still got like a month to go.
You guys are going into November as well.
Mm-hmm. We'll be home just in time for Thanksgiving. Cannot wait to eat all of the food when we get home and sleep for like 24 hours straight. Yeah, but it's good. We're just really lucky to be with a group of great people who all have a shared goal, you know, and everyone's just helping each other out, being really positive, and the fans are showing up in droves, and everyone's having a good time. So
I agree. Yeah. I agree. But make sure to see Suzi Moon live on the Reanimated tour, currently going on right now. So make sure to see her live.
Coming to a town near you.
That's right. They're going all across the U.S.
All across the U.S.
Make sure to see award-winning punk rock artist Suzi Moon.
Woo!
I'll drop some links in the description. Please check out Stream Support. Give a like to Suzi Moon, new album Dumb In Luv, currently out right now. Make sure to pick up the vinyl as well. For Suzi Moon of Suzi Moon.
That's me.
I'm your host always, Matthew Thomas. Thank you so much for watching. Listen to Super Cool Radio. And remember, stay frosty.
Stay frosty. I think we should share some.